Hello, everybody. Dee. Check out everything here. Hope everybody's all right. Thank you for the audio check, Mr. Rob, the official sound man of the official Shortwave channel. Things look good here. Audio is a little distorted. I don't see why. It should be. There we go. So everything looks fine. Welcome, everybody. And here we go. Welcome aboard. This is the Saturday edition of the live show. We are here every Saturday at 20 hours Universal Time. We talk about radio and radio in general and just have fun with, geeks that love the same thing that we do. We talk about the fact that this is always a solitary hobby. Well, there's nothing solitary about our show today. A bunch of guys, and this includes the girls, of course. Guys is a general term, and I think the girls are okay with the fact that they're part of the gang and the guys. And we talk about radio, shortwave radio, scanner radio. It's mostly focused on shortwave in general, but every type of radio and amateur radio is in there also. So welcome aboard. Nice to have all of you here, and it's always nice to be here as usual every Saturday. Now, there will be an exception to the rule. I'll repeat it a little later. Next week is the Shortwave Fest. And because of the Shortwave Fest, I will not be doing a show on Saturday. We're going to push the show on Sunday. So we'll have the Shortwave Festival all day on Saturday, March 4th, next week. And this show live will be on Sunday, March the 5th at 20 hours UTC next week, exceptionally. And then we'll come back to our Saturday edition for the live show in the week after that. So hope that everybody will be at the Shortwave Festival. This is going to be a lot of fun. There's a lot of nice things there. The different presentations are really, the sessions are really going to be interesting. And I think it's really worth, $5. You're going to be there joining. You don't even have to interact. You can just be there, and that's all. You'll be there with all others, and you'll be able to watch the presentation. And you can go into the virtual Bob Brown Memorial Hospitality Suite, where you'll be able to, join in conversations or just check what's going on in the conversation. And don't be shy, don't be afraid. It's a very, very down to earth, cool place to be, and it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to kick it off with the pre-show, if you want. It's a little bit like the Super Bowl for radio. We need to have the pre-show before the event, and so that's going to be Friday night, where the hospitality suite will be open starting at 01 UTC. That's 8 p.m. Eastern. And it's going to go as long as we have energy to keep it on, as Sheldon is going to be able to keep it on also. And then we'll have the main event that starts on Saturday. The chat room hospitality suite will open up early in the morning, 8 a.m. That will be 1300 UTC. So that's kind of very early in the morning for the West Coast. But the first presentation with Jeff White general manager of WRMI, will start at 9:30 a.m. That's 14:30 UTC. And of course, different events during the day, all via Zoom. And like I said, swlfest.com. I think if you're not there, you're missing out on an amazing event. A third year that it's a virtual. All of that came through because of the pandemic. It turned out the virtual event was very interesting for a lot of people because the virtual event reached people that could not be in person at the event in Pennsylvania. So this is pretty cool. So I hope that you join in next week. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I think everybody's going to be happy. Every year it's always cool to be there. So my name is Gilles. I'm located in Montreal, Quebec, Canada, northeast part of North America. We are here every Saturday at 20 hours Universal Time. Talk about radio. We have a chat room if you want to join in. Lots of fun people, great people, really cool people. It's the place to be. You got questions. You've got, you're new to the hobby. Maybe you're not new to the hobby. Maybe you've been listening for 40 years, but there's still something that you just don't grasp the full um, aspect of. There's always part of the hobby that's more of an obscure part of our hobby where we never really understood that much about this or that. We try to help everybody here, and we try to have everybody join in the fun as much as possible. So I hope that you enjoy. When the party's over here, well, we have a Facebook group which is very active, more than 3,000 members, where everybody's posting what they're listening to and so on. Great place to be. And I think a lot of people are enjoying that. Also, once again, another place that's really cool where you can ask questions. It's very civilized, very well maintained. I want to thank all the moderators, both here, that do an excellent job at quickly removing all the crap that could appear at any moment. And the same thing for the Facebook group, where the moderation is excellent, and we have a really a lot of fun and a well maintained group, thanks to all the moderators. That do the majority of the job actually. So thanks so much. You guys are great, and that's really cool. So we're going to say hello to people out there. And also, by the way, if you guys want to try it, once again this week, LRA 36 is on 15476 upper sideband doing a special transmission. So it starts now at around 20 UTC. They're going on until 0 UTC. So if you want to check it out, I'm going to actually tune the one that I was hearing. It was my Yesu here. I'll put that here, upper sideband. I'm going to keep that at a certain level, see if I can hear it or hear anything. So once again, LRA 36 from the Argentina, Archangel San Gabriel, Antarctica base is broadcasting LRA 36 on 15476 kilohertz upper sideband. That's in the 19-meter band. So we'll see if we can hear it. This week is going to go on apparently until 0 UTC, but last week it was supposed to go on until 0, and I believe last week they went on past 0. So we're going to see if we can hear anything. As I'm going to check the gray line here. The gray line for us is not yet there. And I remember last week pretty much in the gray line when we started hearing it. So we're going to see when the gray line kind of brushes up against Montreal and against the East Coast, at least here in the North America and the Argentina base. Okay, Richard Wagner, nice to have you on board from Northeast Illinois. Cold symptoms, yeah, well, that's, just relax, watch the show, have fun. Craig, W9CFW, nice to have you here. Rob in Phoenix, Arizona, the sound check guy, nice to have you on board. Richard Califano, good afternoon, nice to have you here. Oh, the SDRs, when you start SDRs, it's a whole new world, and you can get hooked to it pretty much, I can tell you that. The software defined receivers is a lot of fun to play with. Cheers! Of course, the usual cranberry juice and sparkling water. No alcohol. Once again, we'll be reaching March without alcohol since the last drink of alcohol I had was January 2nd. Nothing since. So this is a continuing uh, year of no alcohol here. What else do we have? Matt, MDK2, nice to have you here from Denver, Colorado. We have Master Players Radio and Television plus Gaming. Have fun at the wrestling. Jay Warrison 69, nice to have you here. Danny, Shortwave and Radio DX, nice to have you on board from Yonkers, New York. We have here it's -10 at the moment. We reached about it was -21 this morning, which means it was minus something like -7 or 8 Fahrenheit here. Right now it's -10, which is, might say, roughly, 15 Fahrenheit, something like that. 10, 15 Fahrenheit. And we're going to drop down to -20 tonight, which means we're going to go below 0 Fahrenheit, maybe -5 Fahrenheit, something like that. So it's kind of cold. It's a cold weekend here. Really cold weekend. One of the coldest weekends. But you know what? It's crazy because when you look at it, we haven't had that cold of a weather. I know that for the snowmobile, the ski-doos, they are telling people to not go on lakes. And many places, the lakes are not frozen well enough this year. And look at Ottawa, the Rideau Canal. They are not even opening it. Hasn't frozen enough for skating. So this is really weird. I mean, it's not, shows us that it's not as cold as it used to be. We have cold spells for a couple of days, but overall this winter it hasn't been that cold actually. Danny Shortwave, yeah, I got the same here. It's very weird what they're saying and their problem. I don't understand exactly what they're saying because I got the email. So my XH Data D109 that I purchased is, according to the tracking, is supposed to arrive Monday. So this is the new radio from XH Data. I purchased it. Tons of people said, why didn't you get the review unit given free? Because I don't want to have free radios. I want to have a radio that I paid for so I can, if it's bad, I can just crap it out on a video. I have no problem with that. I purchased it. And there's also for me, there's a kind of an honor thing. If you get free radios, yeah, you might be fair and okay with a review. It doesn't mean that you're not going to be good, but I'd rather pay it so that there's no conflict of interest. I'm going to call it like that. And so I am supposed to get the new radio Monday. Then I got an email on, I guess it was Thursday. They sent me an email saying, look, there's a problem with our D109. And the problem is very weird. I don't understand. They're talking about FM and going into like 17,500 kilohertz. I'm not sure it's explained well. It seems to be also in a very difficult to write English. So I guess the translation maybe not right. So anyways, there's some kind of glitch with it. And so they said, look, your radio's already shipped, so we can't do anything about it. But we're going to ship you a new one once it's fixed. So when they fix it, I'm going to get a new one. So I'm still going to play around and talk about the one that I receive. And I guess the real official review will be more with the one that maybe I get later on. But, I think we're still going to have an idea. I don't know up to what point the glitch is exactly what they're. It's very weird the way that it explained. It's kind of tough to understand exactly what they're saying. But this gives me to one thing, like Danny Shortwave says. I am very amazed at the fact that they came forward. Like at Ethan, they didn't come forward. Ethan just said, "Oh, we're gonna take a recall and fix whatever and blah blah." You know what, Ethan? I think you should look at XH data here. XH data came up. They didn't have to. They could have just said, "Well, it's shipped. The hell with it. The guy's gonna get a radio that has a flaw." But they're actually they find their image, the quality of their image important enough that they actually reached out, said, "Look, there's a flaw with the radio. We're really sorry." They even said, "We're going to try next time to, test it better so that we don't ship a radio with a flaw on it." And sending out another radio. This is costing them money, but you know what? It's giving them a really, really good name because all of us that are going to have that second radio are all going to say that service was fantastic, and XH Data is a great company and honors, if it's something's wrong, they honor their word and they want you to have a good experience with the radio. So sorry. So it's really good. Honestly, find that really cool that they actually are coming forward like this. And I mean, this for me, this gives them a cool name. So, anyways, we're gonna see the one that I'm gonna receive. I'm still gonna play with it, but it's gonna be nice to see what happens. So, at least I guess we could see that there are companies out there that do care enough about their customers that they want customers to be happy. So, if you've ordered one but it wasn't shipped yet, you're not gonna get it. They're gonna actually fix the problems and then send you the good one. If you're one like me, or Danny got the review unit that was shipped before they discovered. I don't know how they discovered. I don't know if somebody kind of told them, "Hey, there's something wrong with the radio." But the ones that are already shipped, well, you're gonna get a second one. So yeah, okay, that's cool. And can't wait to see. I'm wondering. I'm pretty good at discovering what's wrong with radios, as you guys pretty much know. Um, I can't wait to see the D109, the flawed D109. What exactly is wrong with it? It's going to be kind of interesting to see that. So it's going to be kind of cool. But what great service! I think we're all going to be like, wow, XH Data is really, really a good company. David's your radio room. Nice to have you on board. We have. I don't have the time. Do I have? Yeah, I have the time. Okay. Others out of Crafter's Kitchen. Nice to have you here. And thinking about firing up the Sony ICF 6700W tonight. Go ahead, man. What are you waiting for? James Farley, nice to have you here. KD2GUZ from Old Bridge, New Jersey. David's Radio Room. Michelle has slow mode on for all of us old geezers. What else do we have? Skip and 2EI. Nice to have you here from New Jersey. Nice to have you on board. Been thinking of you. Been playing around with the Morse code CD to brush up slowly on my Morse code. I want to start by becoming fluent enough to to easily decode anything off of the radio, and I think this is going to be a cool thing to get the Morse code. And I want to do some CW. I see a lot of really cool DX and CW. I want to be in those pilot with the CW mode. 45 unit, nice to have you on board from Southeast Connecticut. Hearing a pirate station, Stumpy Radio during the weekdays, which is pretty neat. 6954 USB and other frequencies in the area. Yeah, that's a good question from our friend Matt here, who's planning on attending the Winter Shortwave Listening Fest next week. So, like I said, the live show is going to be on Sunday rather than on Saturday. So, like that, there will be no conflict, and I'll be able to be there the whole day. I will be also operating on that day next week on Saturday during the fest, and maybe on Friday night also during the pre-show. I'm going to operate the special event station for CIDX VE2AQP. I'll be mixing in both some SSB voice and FT8 in there. So, and I've been thinking of maybe doing a set of pictures during the week. Try maybe to do a couple of SSTV, slow scan TV pictures of Shortwave Fest. So this is going to be interesting to see. I don't know yet what I'm going to do. Next weekend is the big ARRL SSB contest. So the bands are going to be full. We're going to try to find some spots in between somewhere. I am guessing 10 meters is the best bet because it's a very big band. And usually in a contest, I noticed that, above 28.5, 28.600, it's quieter. So maybe it will be kind of in there and 26, 28.7, 28.8 in single sideband voice. And of course, to compensate, I'll probably be on the work bands a little bit. So we're thinking of 12 meters, 17 meters SSB voice. So that will be, probably a good place because we'll be away from the contesting. And of course, like I said, I will be FT8. So in FT8, what you'll need to look for is CQ SWLFEST VE2AQP. This is how I'm going to present myself in the FT8 mode. So it will be CQ SWLFEST VE2AQP. So this should fit in the characters for FT8. So that'll be the special event. If you are a listener or if you're a ham, every ham that contacts the special event will get an EQSL, a special EQSL for the Shortwave Fest. And every listener, you're not a ham, you hear me on the bands, then send a reception report. We'll have all the details for that. You'll be able to get that EQSL for your shortwave report. And there's also going to be Mickey Delmage out in the West that also will have this is special event station, which will be Victor Echo 6 SWL, shortwave listening. That will also be the shortwave, the special event. He's going to be SSB voice only. So hopefully he's going to find some spots to be able to make contacts, maybe be on the work bands also. So that's going to be happening as the Shortwave Festival is also happening next week. Okay. All excited. Too excited. Okay, so this is going to be some really cool stuff for next week that's going to happen. What else we have? Registration is going on for those asking. I see Bobby is asking. Registration is going on until Friday, March 3rd in the evening. So you'll be able to register until Friday. You cannot register during the event. You have to do it at the latest on Friday, March the 3rd. So, and send in your $5. Sheldon Harvey, nice to have you on board from Greenfield Park, Quebec. We have we have Dwayne. Nice to have you here from Northeast Tennessee. We have RJD Dakota. Nice to have you on board from Winsville, Missouri. We have Ricky. Nice to have you on board. Bonjour. J'espère que tu vas bien aussi. Nice to have you on board from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. We have DJW883. Nice to have you on board from Southeast Pennsylvania. As Sheldon says, countdown to the next weekend's Winterfest. Hope that everybody's registering, going. We want to have as many people as possible. There was 200 and some people last year. I think it was 250, 260 registered. 170-ish showed up at the event at some point. So this is going to be interesting to see how many people we get this year. Let me just, there we go. Try to join as fast as possible. I'll go down the chat. Say hello to everyone. TVDXer, ça va bien? J'espère que tu vas bien toi aussi. Toujours un plaisir de t'avoir parmi nous. We have, here we go. Here we go. What else do we have? Am I missing out on anyone? Roberto Rojas, nice to have you on board, my friend. Buster Brown, nice to have you on board. And yes, the fireplace burning the on the air sign. So if something happens with on the air sign, it stops working. Maybe the fire was too hot. Paul Steckler, nice to have you on board. We have Roland's video filmer. Nice to have you here from Sweden. Pretty cool to have you on board, my friend. Michael, nice to have you here. Just want to say glad to be here and hello to everyone. And thanks for the nice comments. What else do we have? Greg, sure, nice to have you on board. Greg the Catman saying hello from Southern Illinois. So, like said Paul, we were saying the D109, there's some kind of flaw. I'll still have mine because it's already shipped, but they're going to fix it and then send the new ones after. So at least they got a great service. It is better than Ethon, I can tell you that. Tatoy, nice to have you here from the Philippines. Spacebar, nice to have you on board from the UK. We have Simon Borg. Jasmine, nice to have you on board. Simon Borg says, are ICOM the best? Not necessarily the best. They're good, definitely. The best is, I think everybody has a favorite. I'll call it like that much more than anything else. I think everybody has a favorite. Some people are Kenwood guys. Some people are ICOM guys. Some people are Yaesu guys. It all depends. So we can't say the best, but definitely good. That's for sure. Yep, show on Sunday, Matt. Dennis, nice to have you on board. We have Richard Califano. Nice to have you here. Rob, yep, Sunday for the show. Everybody, again, for those that have joined, next week being the Shortwave Festival and Saturday. The live show will be Sunday at 20 UTC. Jasmine says, my Malashine has arrived. Have fun. You're going to have fun. Lex 2006, nice to have you here. What else do we have? Robert Cross, nice to have you on board. Grinding Radio has arrived. I have bit work to do on it. I have dial card to restring. It's a complex radio, eh? But you fix a radio, so you're probably used to it more than a lot of other people's. Hook 911, nice to have you here. Um, Greg, nice to have you here. Mickey Dalmage, nice to have you on board. Bring your own beverages and snacks on Friday night. Definitely. Unfortunately, we haven't found a way to have virtual drinks and snacks yet. Maybe someday, but for now, it's impossible. Paul Steckler remembers the good old days when Kim Andrew Elliott would talk about the Shortwave Fest on Communications World and VOA. He made Coastville, Pennsylvania sound like an exotic paradise. um, what else do we have? Robert Varner, nice to have you here. We have Japio, nice to have you here. ICOM 705. Spacebar has been a fun week on 10 meters. Hey, I had my first FM contacts, first ever. It came up because for a few times I'd been thinking every day I forget to go and check the FM repeaters on the top of the 10-meter band. So this week on Tuesday, or was Tuesday or Wednesday, I don't remember which day, it came to mind. I was up in the morning and was like, hey, I'm going to go check the repeaters. And while checking the FM repeaters, I stumbled upon a station from Belgium and a station from Italy on FM, 10 meters FM. So I actually made a contact with both of them. It seemed so easy too. So my first two FM contacts on 10 meters was a lot of fun, kind of cool. And I'm going to try to do more of that, definitely. I've been watching the 10-meter band, the 6-meter band a lot this week. Unfortunately, there's no openings much to hear. But I can tell you when that 6-meter band is going to be open, I bet you I'm going to be there a lot in the next months. So just can't wait to see those openings there happening on 6. And I'm going to try different things on 6 when it's open. I'm going to try FM. I'm going to try single sideband. I'm going to try, of course, FT8. I already have 6-meter contacts. It's not going to be the first time. There was an opening around the holiday season, the Christmas season. And I made maybe a dozen contacts on FT8, 6 meters. So it won't be the first time. But I'm looking forward for an active 6-meter time also. But definitely it's fun. 10 meters is open every day. It's a regular band right now. It's really, really a lot of fun. Anybody that just wants to check out. It's funny because when I posted my FM 6-meter FM, of course I showed some activity on it, and one of the guys that was that commented said, wow, I just made a video talking about how there's nothing on FM on 10 meters FM. And you post a video on there's activity on 10 meters FM. You got to try in the daytime. You got to try in the right time. You got to be patient also. That's for sure. What else? Jasmine, only issue is send version 1.10a instead of advertise 1.10d. I am sending it back. Neil Rigby, nice to have you here from the UK. Michael Andrew says, love to put faces on members of the shortwave community. Yep, it's always fun. The other thing also that Shelley and I were talking about is for those that had joined back then, we had a official shortwave Zoom that was done, and a lot of you guys have participated. So we're going to look into sometime in the next couple of months, make another one of those to all of you, so that if you want to see each other, see what you look like, we'll join in the fun. We're going to be doing another of those Zoom meetings where you guys can join. So hang in there. We're going to give the details when it comes to that point. What else do we have? Just got notified. Strong solar flares. Yeah, I got quite a few today. I was doing stuff today, and I've been having a lot of a lot like strong flare at what 2006 M flare. So been having quite a lot of flaring today. There's a very active sunspot group right now. What else do we have? So what else do we have here? Doug Smith, nice to have you here from Virginia. Robert, that Grundig radio, very, very good on shortwave. I can't wait to restore it. Oh, definitely. It's amazing. It's just very surprising. And I'm surprised at how stable it is for a radio of that age. Pretty crazy. 0 nice to have you on board. KD2ANN from New Jersey. We have, just check it out. Anybody else here? So it's nice to have everybody here. Jim F from Rhode Island, nice to have you here. Call Icon, nice to have you here. Been checking, monitoring 15476. Nothing yet. With the solar flare that just happened, there could be a temporary fading of the signal too. So we'll monitor throughout the show if we can hear anything. Trevor, nice to have you on board. What does long pressing 9 while PL330 while turned off do? I turned something on or off, but I can't figure that out. What? 9. I got mine here. Let me just check out 9 when it's off. When it's off, let me just see here. What does it do? Mine doesn't seem to do anything. When I press the 9, nothing happens on mine. So no. Check out the manual. There's the hidden feature manual also available online. It has to be in the hidden feature manual, Trevor. Because when I press 9, when it's turned off, it doesn't do anything here. I'm pressing 9, and nothing happens. Oh, nice to have you on board from cold and snowy Westport, Massachusetts. We have a little bit of snow falling here. Edwin, nice to have you here from California. Read about a bid proposal from NASA on a radio system that could be implemented on Mars. Curious how radio communication could be used there, considering the environment. Well, one of the things that's interesting on other planets and including Mars is so of course, if we talk about strictly shortwave requires an ionosphere, which is based on the atmosphere that the planet has. Mars has a very, very tenuous atmosphere. It's very weak compared to us. It doesn't have the same gases. I wouldn't be surprised. It might have some form of ionosphere that's extremely weak compared to ours. I don't know exactly what type of, what could come from communications over there. But they're probably going to do mostly VHF, UHF stuff, which doesn't have, um, that that much of a difference there for. But it's going to be interesting to see there. It'd be nice and interesting to see, how different frequencies and how shortwave would react, say, on Jupiter or on, the different gases, the different ionization. Look at Venus. Venus has a very, very dense atmosphere. Is there a kind of ionization? Like, is there an ionosphere on Venus like we have? Is it based on very specific gases that you need to have in the atmosphere? And then with if there is, it would be kind of interesting to see bouncing signals off of Venus ionosphere on the surface with different, probes and stuff. But I mean, that is something that would be, very expensive to do. But I mean, it kind of would be intriguing and interesting. We could try these things. Chuck Schreiber says hello, hello there. Nice fun N5 KVO. Nice to have you on board from South Texas. Rob likes the cozy fireplace with the clock. Yeah, you know what? Because I put the it's not visible that much here, mostly because of the blue light, I guess here. But here I've got a world map with the day night differences, and I should be checking out if there is actually a different map that would have a better contrast for that. And here, of course, I had to because this is the computer that's creating this screen. The HDMI out from here is in the projector that's on the shelf over here, and it's sending it there. So here on this screen, there was actually just a desktop, and I thought, what could I put there that would be as something else than a desktop? And I thought, oh, I'm going to put the fireplace here. So I thought, yeah, okay, a little fireplace, and kind of looks like almost a real one in the wall. What else do we have? Robert Warner hasn't had an alcoholic drink since the 1980s. Danny, nice to have you here. 91 in Louisiana. That's hot. Danny Primo. Trustin, nice to have you on board, my friend. What else? Paul, nice to have you here from Southwest Michigan, from KE8 WMF. 0-100 afternoon cup of coffee. That's perfect. What else do we have? Kevin, nice to have you on board. After listening to your local weather, I feel like a wimp shivering in New Jersey shore. Nice to have you here, WS2H. Yeah, well, I went outside. I took a 45-minute walk at minus 10, 12 Celsius, and that bad. What is the worst here is the humidity, because usually we have cold weather and it's very humid, so it kind of goes through your coat. So Chris Neal, nice to have you here from Fiji. Sunday morning here, some cold. It's just bloody hot in southern hemisphere. So yeah, I'd gladly send some, but maybe not as intense as we have. I don't think you guys in Fiji are used to what we're having here at minus 10, minus 11 Celsius, and going down to minus 20. I don't think that would be a good idea in Fiji. Talking of Fiji, I had a Fiji contact on ham radio Thursday night, 20 meters around 05 UT, 06 UT. I had a 20-meter contact with Fiji, which was kind of cool. It was not my first. I had a Fiji contact couple of months back. René Charbonnier, nice to have you on board, my friend, from the Netherlands. Glenn Danzler, nice to have you on board. And from South Carolina. So take care. And yeah, I get you. I painted here last fall. It's a good exercise. So take care, man, and nice to have you here. Richard just noticed the small fireplace. Danny Shortwave, Ethan needs to learn from XH data. Yeah, definitely. I mean, that is excellent that they are so forward and not even hesitating, sending you an email saying, look, we goofed up. The radio's bad. I would have not seen Eton do that. Hey, the radio's bad. We're sorry. I'm going to send you a second one. Yeah, right. Joanne Leroux. Nice to have you on board, Johan or Joanne. Just confirm that you're reaching an international audience from Cape Town, South Africa. Cool. Welcome aboard. Vicky Pelletier, salutations. Heureux de t'avoir parmi nous aussi. Nice to have you on board, my friend Vicky. And yeah, excellent customer service support, definitely. Anthony France, nice to have you here from Florida. Taloa Fishing, Paddling, and Outdoors, nice to have you here. K5ASL. We have. We have. We have. TFP Taloa Fishing Gloves is Skywave SSB2. Even with the popping, it's expensive, but it works really well. Surprised at the medium wave DX ability. So cool. Have fun with that. Have fun with that. Doug White, nice to have you here. KE5ETS. What else do we have? Danny Shortwave wants to learn CW also. I find it interesting. Yeah, I want to be part of my knowledge. The other thing that I don't have a lot of time in my hand, but the other thing that I want to maybe do is go and get my advanced license and have all of the possibilities of a ham radio operator. Maybe someday I could set up a repeater or whatever. That would be interesting knowledge. Spacebar XH data showing Eton that customer service and support looks like because that Eton they brought out was riddled with issues and faults. Yep. Jasmine, I was just using FLDG to decode CW from KPH 12808. Do you ever pick up KPH's CW broadcasts? Yeah. On the Saturdays, I hear them on some of the frequencies. Depending on the time of year, there are some of the higher frequencies, but I hear KPH's Saturday broadcasts regularly here. Skip says he's going to be at the fest for his 30th year. Amazing. RGA Dakota, what's the problem with the new XH data? I don't know. It's not clear what they're saying exactly. I'm gonna see it when I get it Monday. I'm gonna see exactly. Maybe I'll be able to, um, you know, I'll be able to pinpoint exactly what they mean. It's not clear from the email of what they're saying. Apparently about frequency entry that you're not able to, but they talk about FM and they have frequencies in the shortwave range, and I just don't get what they're trying to say here. So we'll see anyways. Matt says we'll try to catch the station, special event station in both modes. Yeah, there's chances it's going to work. And Skip is presenting for the 30th year as well. So he's going to talk. Skip is going to have a nice presentation about good. And by the way, if you want to help Skip out, I don't know how advanced he is, if he still needs input, but your favorite old tabletop radio that you or radio in general that would be a good, not too expensive radio today still for the shortwave hobby. He's going to present that old, inexpensive, if possible, desktops and radios in general that from the past. Matt, if you need some practice, oh yeah, that'd be good actually, because I am so I haven't done more yet because I'm a little intimidated. I'm still not used to it enough. So I did 2 or 3 contacts, but it was so amateurish, and I was really not ready for that. That I need to really, really get ready, and I wanted to eventually become like FT8 or whatever other mode, or even when I'm on voice SSB, that it's going to be just go with the flow. It's gonna be an easy thing. Right now, it's kind of tedious and tough because I'm just not prepared. RGA Dakota, it's great to see a company that takes responsibility for its products. Yep, definitely. It's really, really nice to see all of that. kudos to XH Data. And we're talking about it here, and I'm sure that some of you have noted that and are going to, come back and say, um, well, maybe I should buy an XH Data radio now, my next radio. And maybe that XH Data D808, I'm not afraid to buy it anymore because they have such a great service. So TVDXer, yes, next Sunday at 20 hours Universal Time. We're just shifting the day to Sunday because on Saturday is a Winterfest, but it will be at 20 hours UTC. What else do we have? Spacebar. Give the weekend a miss on the radio unless I find a gap on PSK 31. What else do we have? Mental Lunar, nice to have you here from Connecticut. Mark Drigger, nice to have you here from Old Creek, Wisconsin. W9USO, WA9278SWL. Nice to have you here. What else? Let's go down. KO4ZNE, Hook 911. RJ Dakota, I would get that new XH Data, but the band has a 9 kilohertz separation on medium wave. I'm a fan of the medium wave band, so the little radio wouldn't work for anything else but shortwave, at least until the FM expansion. Paul says RTTY on 27500. Yep, there's been some Navtex on 27500 reported. I don't know if I hear anything here. But there's been some Navtex reported on. So here I got some. I've got some. I don't know what language on 27495. Somebody was actually showing that they were decoding 27501, 27500, and it was the Canadian Marine Weather broadcast or something that looked like that. So it's interesting. I tried to find any info about Canadian utility stations on that range because there are utility and marine stations above in that range. I know that there are, but I can't find any information about it. Is it somebody else rebroadcasting it just to play a prank or just for fun? It's kind of weird, but I've seen a couple of reports and I've seen people decoding the Navtex text around 27500. So it's kind of interesting. Kevin Upton, nice to have you on board from Detroit, Michigan. Tarek, nice to have you here from Cairo, Egypt. N6RLS, nice to have you here from Berkeley, California. KW1161, nice to have you here from Tucson, Arizona. 911, I have to take the general, but I'm ready. FTDX10 with a Hunter Bandit 2000A and Fed rated at 1500 watts. Cool. Danny Shortwave will register today, later on today. Count me in. Pretty cool. TBD Extra, did my moderator status timeout? I'm not seeing the wrench next to my name now. It's not supposed to time out usually. Did you change something about your account? Because it shouldn't change usually. You're on the same account that you were. I'm just going to add it. Here you go. I'm going to add you again. So now you should be okay. But it could be, I don't know if you changed account or changed something in your account. That could be something from that. So we have Practic. Nice to have you on board. Considering, should I pirate on FM around the 20 megahertz range? Hey, it's up to you to know what you're going to do. Well, doing a pirate radio is at your own risk. That's for sure. It's definite that if you're not interfering with anybody and you do it on shortwave, it's more difficult. Um, it's more difficult, to get caught. But it has risks. It is still illegal, technically. Jasmine propagation has been pretty good. Picked up a ham from Connecticut, 20 meters, coming in strong. California station is only running 200 watts. Hey, I make contacts, even voice. I make contacts to Europe with 100 easily. It's not even a tough one. It's actually an easy one. The two FM contacts I made, Belgium and Italy, 100 watts FM. I mean, we're great. RJ Dakota, the 108 was wonderful. The 109 should be good as well, but there's a newer one, but it's super small and very inexpensive. Impressed by its shortwave performance. Alexander, nice to have you here from Belgium. Spacebar has been a brilliant week for HF propagation. Yep, definitely. Tarek, last week was a nice week for QSL, paper QSL from New Zealand, Auckland Radio, and two EQSLs from Russia, Radio Rossi on 999 and Vesti FM 1413. Cool. Kevin, the power has been out for days. I've been experiencing some excellent shortwave connectivity without the local electrical interference. Oh yeah, that when the power goes out, I can tell you. What else do we have? Let's go down. Darren Rogers. So what is the problem with the XH data D109? We're not really sure. I don't understand the very cryptic message they sent. So I don't know. We're going to see this. Michael says that I'm still the number one world radio broadcaster. Matt, yep, we're gonna check it out. Matt, I'm gonna try to do some slow scan. Matt says going to be awesome. 6 meter going to be awesome. Baby, maybe sure you've got a solid antenna for it. Yeah, mine is not too bad. I had my first run on it because my end fed is rated to go to 6 meters, and my SWR on 6 meters, if I don't use a tuner, my SWR is about 1.5 to right now 1.5, 1.7 to 1. Not too bad. I think it's gonna be fun. There's better antennas, definitely. There's better antennas for everything than what I have, but considering what I have, I'm happy, and I think it's gonna be interesting. I can't wait. What else do we have? Spacebar been listening to 27 megahertz band on AM, a lot of American stations, and SSB been good fun. South Africa and FT8, and played with FT4, which was fun too. Yep. What else do we have? Greg, you should get the XH data D219 FM shortwave 12 band DSP portable available. It's 13 and available at Amazon. Yeah, I need to check it out. There's a lot of things that are available to you guys on Amazon.com in the US that are not visible here on Amazon Canada. So sometimes it's not easy to get the same radios. Brian Penny, nice to have you here from Cape Cod, Massachusetts. Kevin, my Yaesu VX6R is on the way today. Excited to ride the waves with it alongside the H51X. Cool. Matt says got 45 states on 6 meter FT8, but only 3 countries. Finally got another Wyoming station on 10 meter FT8, so I can get the 5 band WAS award. So cool. Yeah, well, there's 10-meter FM repeaters across the world, from 20 29 600 to 29 700. What else do we have? Skip says 15 sucks right now. So it could be because of that solar that we just had a solar flare. So maybe that's the reason why it's. You know what's interesting with FT8 particularly? With FT8, you see when a event happens, a solar event, because with FT8 you have the main software that has the all the contacts, but you have a window with the audio. That audio window shows you all the stations in the 3000 kilohertz spectrum of audio. So you could see all the FT8s, all the stations in FT8 on all their position on different spots and the frequency. What's nice is I've noticed this week a few times that when there are solar flares, you see the amount of FT8 stations in that spectrum drop down to almost no stations at all, or just local stations or stations from a certain area. They kind of fade out, and suddenly a band that was full of signals suddenly becomes super quiet, and then slowly it comes back, and an hour later you're back at a full band full of signals. It's that I find really really cool to see, because it's really like a live. You see the effects of a solar flare live as you're making contacts. So Jim's radio check just received his XH data D219. Appears to be decent for $13, including shipping. So I'm gonna check. Just gonna check. I'm gonna check here. D219. Amazon. Let me check it out here if they have something like that here. So XH data D219. And yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah, it doesn't show here. Amazon Canada does not have the D219. So you guys see it in the US. We don't have it here in Canada. Doesn't show up. Doesn't show up. Sorry, guys. So nothing special. The D328, which I have, 368, which I have. Need to take them out and do a little more. Those are much more average radios. So you see here, it doesn't appear on the Amazon site. We don't see the D219. Danny Shortwave says, yes, that would be nice to have a Zoom meeting. I'm there when you have the next one. So cool. We're going to check it out as time permits when we could organize that. Jet Crafter, nice to have you here from Southern Maine. Just received the XH data D219 that costs $698. I'm going to say so far I'm impressed with the cheap radio. So cool, you have that available there. Dave, nice to have you on board from the Bronx. Thanks for the info on the PL330. Cool. And the bandwidth, by the way, Dave, somebody commented, and he's right. Some radios have the bandwidth you change by pressing the button, but you can change the bandwidth by pressing the bandwidth button and using the small knob on the bottom right of the radio. That will change as soon as you press bandwidth. That will change the bandwidths and go cycle through the bandwidths, so that you can use a radio. Hope we can help, my friend Dave. Jeff King, nice to have you here from Jacksonville, Florida. What else do we have? So let's check it out here. Spacebar, it should explain a lot. There, you'd be surprised. 10-meter FM repeater where that gets heard. Carl Icon 15476 active, playing music on Argentine WebSDR. So 15476 is active. We're going to try to monitor it through the time. I got it on my, because that's the radio that was hearing it the other day. Got it on my Yesu, but I'm not hearing anything right now. But it might actually come a little later because it was happening as we were getting into the gray line zone. So hopefully that's going to happen. What else do we have? Trevor, Texan PL330. Yeah, mine is an old one. Mine is not 3306. Mine is, I purchased mine before. So mine is a little quirky. It might miss on some features. 3306 is the latest firmware, or one of the latest firmware. So I don't know. I'm going to check it out. You should find the info. They're probably one of the hidden features there. Glenn, nice to have you here from Milwaukee. I haven't been too active on the site this week. Hopefully, I'll be posting more. KB9IN, nice to have you on board. Kevin, do you think I could send my Zoom connection on my iPhone to my TV using the Apple screen mirroring function? Just paid for the festival. Look forward to checking out some of the groups. Yeah, what you need to do is just mirror your iPhone to your TV, and it's gonna work. It's gonna work. Once you mirror your iPhone through the Apple TV, if you have the Apple TV, you can mirror the iPhone through the Apple TV on your screen. And once it's mirrored, it mirrors everything. So it will mirror the Zoom also. Definitely. RFPI, Radio for Peace International. Nice to have you on board, and cool to have you here. And always a pleasure. Toujours un plaisir. What else do we have? Sean Price says, just added a 10-meter setup to my shack today. Never used the band before. And now's the time. You're going to have a lot of fun. I can tell you that. Yep, Jupiter does broadcast on HF. It has a regular broadcast. Don't know where you get the QSL card from, but from anywhere from about 19, 20 to 25 megahertz. Matt says, if Venus has an ionosphere, the solar flux ratings are probably out of the chart compared to Earth. Definitely. It is much closer to the sun. So, and if the atmospheric density has something to do with it, which it probably does, that also probably adds to not only being closer to the sun, make the ionosphere very dense, but the very thick atmosphere, which is much thicker and denser than Earth, actually will probably make that ionosphere crazy dense, and probably I can imagine it probably bouncing off signals in the hundreds of megahertz range, not just stopping at 30 or 40 megahertz. But we need to know where to send for a QSL card for Jupiter. That's definite. 0-100 27555 worldwide SSB calling frequency. A lot of activity, definitely. KW61 doesn't want a DX on Venus because the radio would literally melt along with my hands. Yeah, I don't think we would last long. I find fascinating the Russian Venera spacecraft that actually survived long enough to take pictures of the surface. I mean, I find fascinating to see Mars surface pictures from the different spacecrafts we send and rovers, but I find it even more fascinating to see those pictures that were taken by the Russian landers of Venus, which is pretty much hell. And I mean, their spacecraft was what, they lasted like 90 minutes before they just stopped working because conditions are too harsh over there. It's pretty crazy. Ricky, almost minus 30 Celsius here earlier this week, minus 10 this morning. Felt absolutely tropical. Spacebar, although I can't dance in the fireplace, I look like I've just dislocated a hip. OJ Dakota, the small monitor behind you under the on the air sign just looks like a real fireplace. Yeah, it's actually a laptop. My 10-year-old Toshiba laptop that I use actually for FT8, and I thought it'd be cool to have it as a fireplace. I think it looks cool like that. Matt says worked American Samoa early on when I started FT8. I learned much later that apparently that's a rare DXCC as far as populated locations go. The Ham also has a Samoa call and lives there apparently. Yeah, there are quite a few places like that that are really, really tough to get. Blogger died. That's real customer service, definitely. Fast load. How's the COVID going? As I've seen that you've been hit again. Minky Delmage heard at 2301 UTC yesterday on 14336 Upper Sideband, a special call, 10 minutes English transmission of LRA 36, followed by LU1ZV. Could not get through the pileup. Sounded like 1 kilowatt. Wow. LU1ZV. That guy is at that Antarctica place? LU1ZV. I saw him today. Didn't I see him today? Or did I see him yesterday? That call rings a bell. I saw it. LU1ZV. I would guess LU1ZV. Yeah, the Base Esperanza. Yeah, Base Esperanza, LU1ZV. And if we look at, I'm just going to go around here. I'm going to find a call. So LU1ZV is was FT8 this morning. It was FT8 this morning at 13 UTC on 10 meters. Dang, I gotta get up early. 13 UTC, 1305, and 14336, as you mentioned yesterday, around 23 hours Universal Time. Wow, I wonder if I'm gonna keep an eye on that guy. So he worked a lot of SSB, but apparently he does some CW and he does some FT8. So it's going to be something to look at. It's going to be something to look at. Huh, interesting. LU1ZV, got to keep that call in mind if I see it. Try to get it for sure. What else do we have? Jasmine, my verdict on the Malashine is an amazing piece of technology, which I expect most shortwave portables to be in 10 years. Some company needs to make their own with good quality control. Which XH data radio is bad? Well, I got a few that are not the top radios in the world. I can tell you that. There's a few. The D328 is not one of the best. 0-100, what's the latest on the Ethon Elite? Well, there's nothing really latest because they're selling it as is. So there's nothing new, and they're not going to apparently change anything. They fixed the firmware for the HD freeze, and that's all. There's nothing more. They're selling it as is. If you go online, you can buy it everywhere. Here they sell it on Amazon Canada at the crazy price of $968. Completely crazy. I would not pay $1,000 for it. I've seen another review pop up from another guy that got one this week that says that the electronics, the biggest flaw that he can find on it right now is that the electronics inside it are crazy noisy, and that they add tons of noise to the circuit, which actually makes shortwave very noisy compared to other radios. I mean, that radio is a complete dud. It's like, come on. Why did you bring out a crazy, crappy thing that's so expensive like that? It's unacceptable for the price that it's sold for. And it's sold. That's the way it is. You can buy it if you want on the Ethon website or at different sellers across the U.S. Well, they sell it, but it's a bad radio. It's not a good radio. 80K, do you think Texan or other mainstream manufacturers will make Malahite type radios? I don't know. It's, for any manufacturer to invest in creating and making something new, there has to be a market for it in the end. And is the market for it there? I don't know. You got to remember one thing: a radio like the Malahite or Malachite or whatever you pronounce it or call it, um, that's not for mainstream people. That's for an enthusiast, much more a shortwave enthusiast like we are. And how big of a market is that? Texan is like XH data. Look at how they're creating mostly cheap radios. When I say cheap, I mean inexpensive. That's the market. The market is into not spending too much money on a radio. I don't see those companies making anything like that. And we got to look at the fact. Just look at the. I think the biggest indication of how the shortwave market is right now is the amount of new radios coming out. How many new radios are coming out? Now, Ethon came out with that big expensive crap, but for the most part, there's really not much happening. So I don't know. Blogger die, Central Virginia will almost freeze tonight after 70 Fahrenheit temps yesterday. TFP Tolo phishing, set up a IRLP node or something like that on a repeater. That way you can talk to you easy like that when you get a repeater. Chastank, nice to have you here from Louisville, Kentucky. We have what else do we have? Ricky, I was going to try to use FLDG, downloaded the manual to maybe give me a head start, but it's more than 500 pages long. I'm usually enthusiastic, but that might be a little much. You don't need a manual, Ricky. Just download it, install it, and configure it. And it isn't that difficult to understand once you start playing with it, you know. Kevin, how are you? Are you doing your Morse code? Are you typing or using a paddle? Because on Saturday, the Winterfest. I'm not sending yet. I'm really just listening to brush up. I'm not at all yet with the sending part. I'm gonna start to get just fluent into the code side, and then we'll talk about the sending side because I don't have any equipment for that yet for sending out and CW. Barry Wendon, nice to have you here. G6 JMX. TBD extra, technical, check the account first before asking you. And I'm on the same one, so I don't know what happened. That's weird. Okay. I don't know. You lost it for some reason. I don't know why. It's there. It's back. Um, Jasmine, wouldn't pirating make more sense around the bands people expect to find pirates? Technically, yes, because it's going to be easier for anyone to find you because that's where most people scan. But there are a lot of pirates that over the years showed up in different bands that are outside the standard pirate and they show up. But you know what? I suspect that some of the pirates go with themselves, like an HF Underground, and just say, hey, there's a pirate on 12,000 kilohertz to kind of promote themselves, or somebody does it for them. Joanna Roux, regarding the XH D808, please note my with my tongue firmly in my cheek is a boring radio. It is such a good all-arounder that there is little incentive to try anything else. Yeah, I understand what you get to here. It's like when you get that, you actually have a um, you get a you know a good radio. You don't really need anything else, honestly. Yeah, Ricky, like Matt says, it's figuring out what mode is what, which is the hardest thing, honestly. 'Jetcrafter RAF Volmet booming in Maine on 11253. Let's check it out here. 11253. Well, it's coming in into Montreal. Oh yeah, it's pretty good today. Pretty good today. If you guys want to hear it from here, I actually took out as my main radio. I'm going to actually show you guys as my main radios today. Got a few little things here. So I've got this, the Deep SDR 101 that I actually have. Let's see if I can. 11, 5, 3. And I'm going to go into the mode. There we go. Yeah, it's there. Not super strong on this one. It's not super strong. Stronger on the Air Spy. And I also have taken out for the purpose of this show today the clone, the Malahide clone, actually, that you guys are talking about. And let's see here. 11, 2, 5, 3. Mode, upper sideband, and let's take off the noise reduction. So now menu, RF gain, Yep, it's there. Just try to do a little something here. Try to have you guys hear it. Sorry, guys, it won't be long. I'm going to try it. There we go. Noise reduction. Look at that with the noise reduction. Just need to fine tune the. I hate it. It's kind of difficult to mess it up here. Just let the noise reduction on. And anyways, that's not the purpose here. I'm going to show you a old friend that I came back with today for the show, and has to do with this Radio Shack DX398 here. And that is the original St. Gian A2S ATS 909, actually. Let's see how we can hear the frequency 11253. There we go. Not really hearing it. That's interesting. Oh, here we go. It's not as sensitive as the other radios. So what you hear the very weak there is what you heard there very weak is the on the old Radio Shack DX398 here. And like I said, that's the original ATS St. Gian ATS 909 actually. So kind of interesting to see that happening over there. So let's put this back here. On that clone with the noise reduction, it actually comes in not too bad, honestly. So, anyways, let's continue on here. What else do we have? So the RAF vomit from the UK coming in on 11253. Yeah, Cupid Radio. Actually, Cupid Radio was on last week or the week before on 13 meters space bar. I think it was last week. It was on 21,470. He was heard in North America a week or two ago. Cupid Radio. Jacob, got a Grundig Satellite 2100 on the way. Can't wait to play with old transistor radio. Cool. Oh, yeah. Power outages are great when you want to hear stuff for sure. Jetcrafter got the XH data directly from the XH data website. Yeah, I'm going to check it out. Darren Rogers, yeah, 9565 is Rachel Marti, broadcast from North Carolina, from the Greenville transmitter site. Radio Marti towards Cuba. Yeah, the Kodar, yeah. What else do we have? Yeah, the email is weird, Blogger Die. It says that you can't enter, but they mention shortwave frequencies, but they mention FM mode, and I don't get what they're trying to say. Oh yeah, FT8 are very, very narrow, definitely, Matt. KB7RQQ, nice to have you on board and enjoying some 10-meter activity. Cool. Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of people that tend to go overly crazy with FT8. They say, well, it shouldn't be more than, because I've seen people like, just, oh, well, 20 watts or 30 watts, that's the maximum FT8. No, that's your rule. The rule isn't, that you don't have to. Want to use 100 watts, you can use 100 watts. Like you say, it's a weak signal mode. It's not QRP. You don't have to be QRP. You don't have to be weak, low power. It's up to you. You decide. That said, you don't need a lot of power to go around the world. John Beckham, nice to have you on board from Northeast Florida. Ham Radio Hobo, nice to have you here. Jim Gordon, nice to have you here. Yep. Ham Radio Hobo says 10 meters going good. Definitely. Pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. Matt, it's good practice to check your hold transmitter box when you're using FT8, FT4 and wanting a minute to see that nobody else is sending at the same frequency as you. But WSJTX is capable of decoding signals sent on the exact same frequency. Yeah, what I do is I go on the, I just look at the waterfall. And, some of them are weak, so they're kind of tough to see. But I try to find an empty spot. But some of the, like this morning, I think it was 12 meters this morning. 12 meters this morning. Good luck in finding a spot to be in. But like you say, sometimes you're on the same frequency, but you still make contacts. But you try to avoid it as much as possible. But still works. What else do we have? What else do we have? Spacebar. I'm licensed to operate 50 watts. Never use. Need to use above 20 on FT8. If that mode is packed, I normally then try WSPR or FT4. You find it much quieter in some DX there too. I do FT4 regularly. I'm regularly FT4. Amarillo Hobo 29640. N6RLS, who will be the first to get a QSL card from the first Earth, Moon, Earth QSO bound to happen in the foreseeable future. Well, our friend David in Barcelona has done a EME with the station in Germany. So, But if you're talking, it'd be what I'd like to see N6RLS is a. So we have, amateur radio has done satellites. If we go back to the moon and make it kind of a regular thing, I would love to see the first moon repeater. Set up the first amateur moon repeater. That would be a hell of a cool thing. The first amateur moon repeater. As long as the moon is visible, and make it in a way that it's not too difficult. It'd be a challenge for sure, but make it in a way that it's not, you know, too difficult either. It's like, that it could be a possibility for a lot of people. That'd be kind of fun. What else do we have? Bob, nice to have you here from Virginia Beach, Virginia. WFG 59, please, with my Texan PL 880 so far. Just need time to get used to it. Great little radio. I'm going to have fun with that for sure. For sure. Spacebar, 3 classes in the UK. The foundation, 10 watts. Intermediate, 50 watt. And full at 400 watts. Oh, that's interesting. Interesting to see the different rules depending on where you live of the amateur bands and what they give as a capabilities. Jim Garden, looks like HD does have big problems with the new DU-109. Seemingly, it's been pulled because of some problems with quality control issue around the shortwave bands. Yeah, it's not really clear what they say. I don't understand a thing. It seems to be some Chinese guy that just had a hard time writing it correctly in English. Anyways, I'm going to get the first one on Monday. Apparently, we'll see how it goes. But they're going to send me another one. Which once again, I find XH Data to be absolutely fantastic in their service because, they reached out, they said, look, we send you the radio, it has a flaw, we send it back once it's fixed because mine is sent, so they told me they can't do anything about it. I'm gonna get that one, but they said once they fix the problem, they're gonna send me another one. It's like, oh, this is cool. Thanks so much. Um. James Michael Keene, thank you, listening and learning. Cool, welcome aboard. Yeah, I've had Ham Radio Hobo. I've had a lot of contacts through the week. With I had one night this week or last week, where Australia, like I just called CQ and it was like 5 VKs, 5 Australia stations, one next to the other, just contacting me on 10 and also on 20. JDA. So okay, K11 KW1161. I did manage to receive a 15476 last Saturday from about 01 UT. So it's still on today. If anybody wants to try it. RGA Dakota would not buy a radio for $1,000 unless it was absolutely perfect. Yeah, definitely, definitely. Hardest Salad Crafter's Kitchen. Years from now, there will be an analysis papers on what the disaster the Eton Elite was from a sales and marketing perspective. So many customers were duped. Jasmine, you say the Malahite isn't for mainstream, but I did my research. Shortwave radios with digital displays and SSB were not mainstream in the 80s or 90s. Yeah, but we're not talking about the same thing here. The general population does not want that. We got to make a very, very, very big difference between who we are and the general amount. You know what? The general population, they don't care about a screen with the touch display and whatever. They don't care about that. They want to listen to the radio. We're not the same kind of people. What you want and what we want is totally different from everybody else. What else do we have? David White, please don't hold your opinion on the Ethon in. It's not good for you. Oh, man. Paul Stecker, what do you think? Who do you think is buying the new radios like D109, D19, or the 219 or the Texan PL320? I would say that the majority of them are sold in the Asian market. That's for sure. The majority of them are sold in Southeast Asia as little cheap or inexpensive portable radios that work. Without the Asian market, I don't think we would see any shortwave radios today. Remove Southeast Asia, and there would not be any new shortwave radios. The rest of the world, the market for the rest of the world, I'm pretty sure is too small to explain, you know, shortwave radios in general. New shortwave radios. You know, even the Ethon. I'm extremely surprised that they went there. Such an expensive radio in a world where we get some darn good radios for 1/10 of the price of that thing. But definitely, I think because the last numbers that I've seen from Texan, online were that they were selling more than 1 million radios a year, and I bet you that in there a good 70%, 80% is probably Asian market, and then the rest for us. There's definitely a market for the rest of the world, but it's more of a, in the most part, I think it's more an enthusiast market. So Laura Robertson, nice to have you on board from Italy, I3/KO4DFJ. Chris, nice to have you here from Southwest UK. What else do we have here? Matt says, I hear FM repeater at 29,600 megahertz. Looks like it's in either Marlborough, South Carolina. That's the only one listed for this frequency in FM mode, the repeater book. It's interesting because the Italian, was it the Italian? No, it was the Belgian station. I actually had the Belgian station on 29,600 when I made a contact on FM this week. And that was not a repeater, it was direct. So he obviously didn't really do any, didn't hear any repeaters, or didn't, I didn't even know there was one on 29.6. I'm not surprised. I know there are some on 29.620, 640, 660, and 680. Laura Robertson, can't wait to get the World Radio TV Handbook. Pretty cool. Laura says, any reviews on the Radity new SSB shortwave radio? Yeah, I've seen it on. I was looking on Amazon. It is available here, but I don't know. It's in the same. It's in the same. I look at the specs, and it's in the same range and the same way of working as the Hangrongda. So I'm kind of not really interested in trying it out because I have a hard time thinking it must be good in any way. Take care, Blogger Die. MDK2 says, was kind of jealous of my great grandfather, born when everything was still rural, lived to see the advent of electricity, cars, flight, film, radio, TV, computers, vaccines, and space exploration. Yep. I mean, anybody that lived, from 1900 to 2000 saw all of the major developments. I mean, that 100 years, just so amazing, the discoveries that and the new technologies that came out. We had more in the last 100 years of new technologies than the past 10,000 years. It's crazy. Jasmine, yeah, well, you gotta the deep SDR 101 is kind of, you gotta play with it. It's you gotta push the RF gain a little bit, but it overloads easily. But then again, Here, my Malahite clone that I have overloads extremely easily. I have to let the RF gain down. Paul, wow, just got Montana 29600. First FM QSO, 75 watts. Cool, congratulations. Congratulations. John Beckham, nice to have you here from Northeast Florida. Yeah, the Radio Shack DX398 is an old radio. Paul Steckler, I have a St. Jean ATS 803A. I should take out of the closet sometimes. Yeah, take it for a spin. Take it for a spin. David, a radio room. That radio looks like my vintage ICF 2001. Danny Shortwave still going strong. That DX398. What else do we have? Anthony France loves the St. Jean ATS 909. Aaron Rodgers DX398. Nice. Jim Gordon loved the St. Jean ATS 909. However, it does need an external aerial. Mine is losing the print on its control buttons. You know, I loved the look of that radio, and I loved the radio itself. I got it back. It was expensive here at the Radio Shack when it wasn't on sale. It was like going on for, I remember it was going for like $299 at some point, almost $300. And we're talking early 90s. And one day it was on sale like at $149, and I thought like, okay, that's my price. And I purchased it back then and loved the radio a lot. It's deaf a little on the telescopic, but then again, you put an antenna on it or wire antenna and it works great. Mine suffers from one of the common problems of that radio. The internal speaker is busted, so it doesn't really work well. What you guys heard was the external audio out, the line out that goes into the console, because the speaker itself is like totally busted. It is a common problem of the St. Jean ATS 909 / Radio Shack DX398 of the time. A lot of them, the speaker goes bad. Still works with the earbuds and stuff like that, or earphones, but the speaker itself goes bad. King and the Xer, nice to have you on board, my friend. From Northwest Arkansas. What else do we have? Let me just check it out here. Let's continue. What else do we have? Spacebar's got a DX394 still working. Would have to do the anti-chuff mod. Matt Herringham from Amarillo, Texas, on the New York repeater 2962. Let me check the FM repeaters here on the Yaesu. I'm gonna go here. So I'm gonna put myself in FM. Let's go to 29.3. See if I can hear anything here. Nothing heard right now. Let's put this down here. Take a smaller span. 200 kilohertz span. Go here. So, to see if we hear anything special. I don't see much right now. I'm on 29,600. If anyone transmits there, 29,600. I'm on that frequency right now with the Yaesu. Let's go down. Here we go. Try to catch up also. What else do we have? What else do we have? Okay. Glenn Zeckman, nice to have you here from Ohio. Jasmine suspects there will be an amateur moon repeater within 10 years. Be cool. It'd be really cool. Kilo 61, hearing narrowband FM repeater 29640 in Pennsylvania. Out of Pennsylvania. Francis Moore, nice to have you on board. Ricardo, nice to have you on board from Portugal. Art Dodd, nice to have you here. We have TV Ostrowski, nice to have you on board from Medicine Hat, Alberta. We have my call sign is Victor Echo 2 Zulu Zulu India, VE2ZZI. Laura. Mad Reader DXer, nice to have you on board. Candy Glass, nice to have you here. Oh, here's someone. Here's someone keying. There's someone keying on 29.6. Yeah, but a car is a car. It's not a radio. And honestly, you have no choice. You're in a car. You're shoved with that. That's what they give you, standard. It's a different thing. You don't have that much choice. It's not a radio. I bet you that in 10 years, radios are going to look the same way they were looking right now. Only the enthusiasts like us are going to have things with touchscreens. Kilo X-Ray 0 Zulu, Kilo 0 X-Ray Zulu, something like that. Mobile, just call CQ on 29.6. KX0Z, Kilo X-Ray Zulu 0 Zulu. On 29.6, calling CQ. No, it's not a generational disagreement, Jasmine. It's more of a enthusiast versus regular folks thing. What else do we have? RJ Dakota, most people don't like listening to multiple stations or going through displays. I can actually enjoy going through an entire band where someone else would park on one station forever. Kevin, would you believe the Sea Crane Skywave 2 shipped with the same popping sound during tuning? They are going to fix the problem, and the new version could go up considerably in price. Makes me think. Yeah, I don't know. I find it too expensive for what it is, personally. Jacob, interesting. I find my Grundig S350DL sounds much better than my Texan S8800. I wish the Texan had the Grundig speaker because other than that, the S8800 blows it away. Yeah, technically that radio is better than the S350, definitely. The Grundig S350 does sound good. I agree. Mine is looking at me right now. I haven't used it in a while. I should take it out. Sir Maximus Hardwood, nice to have you here from Detroit. Okay, well, we'll be back in 10 years, Jasmine. My prediction is we'll still have some for the enthusiasts, but most of the radios are still going to look what they look like today. But we'll see. Yeah, the Keegan DX or the Ethon Elite Executive HD, but we got no news. I'm not even sure yet if they really want to do one or it's going to really. I'm scared that they got kind of the bad reputation they got from that Ethon Elite HD that they maybe are going to back off and say we're not making another radio. Paul Steckler received his World Radio TV Handbook 2023 yesterday. He loves it. There's another station that's weaker on that frequency. I'd call CQ, but I'd mess up the. I'm afraid to mess up the live show. On 10 meters, chances are less, and I've actually fixed a few things that actually made a big difference in here. But let's just not take a chance. Or I'll do it at the end. What else do we have? Matt says the manufacturers will have to come together right now. Touchscreens are standard from the big three transceiver makers, but not in other aspects of niche radio. Yeah. I think the fact, you know why I don't see touchscreens on devices? It's not just a thing of people don't necessarily want it. It's also the fact that the radios in general that are sold, for example, look at the mile height or the deep SDR. People aren't buying that except us crazy people that are geeks of radio. The standard people don't even know they exist, first of all. And from the comments I see often, the comments I see often is that the radios are too difficult to use. So a touchscreen with tons of things on the display is going to be out of a lot of people's for sure. And I think that because of price points where shortwave receivers, their future is in low priced radios. That's how it's going to go. Good, but low price radios. Tubrook Tim, nice to have you here. We're going to have shortwave radios available in 10 years. You could have said that when I started 10 years ago. And we still have, if you look at the shortwave radio stations right now, we're not really losing much ground. Everything's staying pretty stable. And in 10 years, there's going to be still a lot of troubles in different areas of the world. Shortwave radios are still going to be sold 10 years from now. I can bet you that. But what's going to happen, and it's pretty much what I see of the future of shortwave, is that relays are going to be the big thing. So the home countries are not going to have their own service with their own shortwave transmitters, but they're going to rent time on big transmitters and transmitter sites. And that's going to happen like that. So we'll have stations from the big transmitter sites around the world, well chosen to the target areas. And yes, there will be shortwave radios sold in 10 years, even then 20 years from now. But because it's not a mainstream thing, it's going to be a handful of manufacturers that are going to have just a handful of models available. And we're going to concentrate on that. What we're going to lose in 10 years is not there's no shortwave radios going to be sold. What we're going to lose in 10 years is that we won't have as big of a choice as we had in the past. They're going to concentrate on several specific models that work well and that are not too expensive in the markets. VT Radio, nice to have you here, Paul in Vermont, AA1SU. Oh, definitely. There's going to be some. We're only starting. We're in 2023. I mean, we've first 23 years. We still have 77 years left. Imagine in the next 77 years up to 2100, all the new stuff is going to come out. It's going to be crazy. Jasmine, born in 97. Keegan, 96. What I like about this, the live show that I'm doing here and my channel, is to see people like you guys that are much younger, and into the hobby and having fun with radio, and I like that. It's fun to see that there's still some younger people out there that actually enjoy radio, and this is kind of cool. It's because it is an aging hobby in a way. The bulk of amateur radios operators, the bulk of listeners are older, and getting older. Richard Califano, on the SDR Uno, when the RF gain overloads, what happens to the audio? Usually, if you have too much overload, the audio is going to kind of mess up. It's going to become like distorted and muted somehow. That's what's going to happen. But for the most part, when it overloads, the biggest problem you'll have is spurious signals pop up in the display where there's nothing, where there shouldn't be signals. What's nice in the SDR the play devices and SDR Uno, if there is possibly overload, the main panel tells you next to where the RF gain button is. If it actually lights up overload, it's telling you that there's too much signals getting into it. So it actually tells you. Tristan just bought an external speaker to go with the PL330. What a huge improvement. Oh, definitely. A lot of the portables, if you put good external speakers on them, absolutely. So let's try to catch up a little more on this. So yeah, definitely external speakers are definitely something that help on a lot of portable radios. 0 100. When I bought my Radio Stick DX440 in 1989, cost 220. Yeah, they were expensive, eh? Back then, it was really expensive. Really crazy. That's just more. My heart was broken in 1997. Doug Smith, I hooked a 5 feet tall Wilson CB antenna to my Yaesu FTDX10, and it works great on shortwave. Yeah, it's going to work. It's going to work. Definitely. Patriot American, nice to have you here from Austin, Texas. Just a Panasonic RF P50D2. Here's my old Kenwood R600 and FTDX3000 and FT8018. Welcome aboard, Sir Maximus Hardwood. I have a Texan 330 and I already feel like I have a perfect radio. Does anyone have recommendations for a next step up? I also use an MLA 30. Honestly, like I say, the step up is, what do you want as a step up? If you want a step up that I'm going to get more than I'm getting on the 330, the only step up that would be an interesting step up, I would say, for somebody that, if you don't want to spend money to have 15 different radios, would be an SDR. You get yourself an SDR. That for me would be a step up, because if you take the 330, it's such a good radio that unless you're very specific in DXing a specific area, medium wave or AM DXing or long wave or whatever, then there might be specific models that actually outperform certain ranges. But for general listening, if the PL330 is a great radio, if you get a PL990 that's much more expensive, you are not going to hear more. You hear the same thing. There might be a little bit of, and even then, I have both, and honestly, you'll hear the same thing. The Like I said, the unless you're specific in a range of frequency you want to listen to, then go SDR. Go try an SDR. That's going to be a step up in and something totally different. You know. Andy New, nice to have you here. What else do we have? What else do we have? Let's just go down. What else do we have? What else do we have? Yeah, noise blankers are very limited in what they actually do in the most part. Glenn Seckman had my DX302 out. With 40-foot wire. Cool. That's a nice little radio. Nice tabletop. I had the 302 when I was a teenager. It was nice. It was nice. Francis Moore, thank you so much for the tip. Much appreciated. If anybody remembers, there is the functionality of having the super chat. You can actually tip through the chat. Somebody asked me this week that I should share it, and I'll share it this time around. PayPal donations are accepted, of course. This is where you send your PayPal donation if you like what I do. If you want to support what I do, support me buying new radios and talking about them. This is where PayPal donations should be sent out. I just posted the email. So, and 6RLS, there's really no more shortwave radios for cars anymore. But there used to be. There was the Philips one was the most popular of all. There was a Philips. What was the number? It had three, I think, three sevens in it, 777. That was probably the most popular car shortwave radio ever. But nope, I can't. I haven't seen one, and I can't think of any car shortwave radios today available. I can tell you that. Jasmine, remember when people thought no one would want to type on glass? But that's different. That's, we got a smartphone and they showed us what a smartphone is. Here we're talking about different things. Still, there's still a lot of people that prefer having a little flip phone, very standard flip phone, than one of those big smartphones. But we accept those smartphones for a different reason. They do more. If they were just phone calls, and that's the thing, if they would make just phone calls, we would still have 99% of flip phones where people just have a standard phone. The only reason these get on is not the touchscreen. It's because they're computers. They do a lot more. You have games, you have apps, you can go on the internet. They're portable devices. When you're talking about these devices, you're talking about devices which are not shortwave radios. A shortwave radio will not give you any other possibility than just being a shortwave radio. It will give you a possibility if you have say you have a touchscreen like a Malahide device. Yeah, you can have in it like decoding software for Morse code and digital modes. You can add stuff like that. Yes. Then again, we're reaching out to who? The enthusiasts, not the regular people, which have no idea what that is, and that's not what they want a shortwave radio for. It's like I tell you, what every example you're giving are examples of there's a really big added value to having a touchscreen because there's small computers on the phone, for example. That's not the case for most people. People don't care of seeing a little line that there's a signal. That's not what they want. Enthusiasts like us want that. You want that. I'd like that. And a lot of us like that. But we are different. And that's where I'm reaching for that conversation is we here in the chat room, for the most part, are very different from what an average someone in the world wanting a radio to listen to shortwave is. They just want a radio that works. That's why there's so many low cost models. And there aren't going to be much expensive radios over time. I think even expensive radios are going to be an exception to the rule. Two Broke Tim said no shortwave radios in 10 years. Yeah, there will be, but you won't see expensive ones. You won't see a Texan H501 come up in 10 years. You won't see a two, $300. Why? Because the market for that will be so small that the cost of developing it and so on will be too much, and you'll have to, sell it at a price that, once again, we crazy people pay, but the majority of people would not pay. It's going to be very, very. It's very different. Or shortwave radio and shortwave radios in general, it's a very different thing than a smartphone or whatever. These are computers. They're clearly computers. People live with their smartphone today and don't even have a computer. Uh, you know, it's we're talking about a different thing. It's a computer, but we put it smaller. That's the thing about a smartphone. It's a computer, but a small computer that you have with you everywhere. You know, so that's where I'm going at. So if somebody does come out with some really fancy radio with a touchscreen, cool. Somebody like you and like me and like a lot of us here are going to be like, "Oh, this is so much fun." Absolutely. Um, but I don't see it happening. I don't see it happening because of where the shortwave market is. Andy New, have you come across the ELAD EFM Duo SDR radio? Like a great receiver, plus QRP rig. Yeah, I've seen a lot of it. Seems amazing. Everything, all the ELAD stuff seem amazing. But I've never tried any of them. Mike WX50, nice to have you here from Northwest Arkansas. MDK2 radio as we like it is becoming more marginalized anyway. I believe that outside of cars, most radio listening is done through streaming like a home smart speaker or apps like Radio Garden. It's when I look at we had statistics and the International Radio Report, we saw statistics from different sources. And streaming is not a thing that's really taking that much on for radio. That's not where streaming is. Streaming is more for like podcast stuff, not for listening to the radio. What I see as a future for radio, honestly, is not people aren't. It's like I always say, people aren't leaving buying a little radio to listen to the radio stations they have listened to on a streaming device. They're just not listening to that anymore. That's where mostly they go. And the examples of that, if streaming was a big thing, all the stations that would go away would stay on the internet and stream. All the stations that left are just left. The only stations that really stream much is all the government-owned stations have their streaming capabilities. All the government-owned shortwave broadcasters, they have streaming online. But a lot of the smaller ones and even a lot of the big ones from the past, like Netherlands, Radio Netherlands, and they don't. It's not a thing. It's not a thing. One day there might be a time where streaming of would be interesting, but I the percentage of people streaming and most of the studies that I see are not much more than 10 to 20% depending on the markets. That's 1 out of 5. It's a small amount of people, and it's growing, but it's not growing very fast either. So it's kind of interesting where we're going, actually, where we're gonna get stuff online and get stuff and get media over time. It's kind of weird. What else do we have? Spacebar, Ethan made such a mess of the satellite HD radio. I think they'll scrap it and start again. Hopefully, they'll learn to do some proper R&D next time. I think personally they're going to scrap it and they're just never going to do another one. This expensive radios like those, we're at the end of seeing radios like those. Look at tabletop receivers. You got the ICOM ICR 8600 still being done. Nobody's making tabletops. I'm pretty sure at the end of the 8600 there won't be anything else. I don't think they're going to do another one after that. My prediction. We'll see if it's the case or not. Like I said, the future for radio, the future is inexpensive radios, but that do the job well, and we have the technology for it today. Ricardo, on a recent occasion while shortwave DXing, my D808 just overloaded, and I put it on the roof of the car. Is this unusual? It's usually overloads, but when hooked on the car audio auxiliary in, depending on the conditions and how strong signals are, a portable receiver overloading is something totally normal. It could happen, and especially when you're in Europe. You guys over there have a lot more stronger signals than we do here in North America. So overloading is definitely something that is normal, and I don't see there's nothing unusual about that, even with just a telescopic antenna. So depending on where you are and how strong the signals are, and rising solar activity has pushed some of the signals on shortwave into the much stronger range than they were before. So So what else do we have? It's actually cheaper to. It's not cheaper to do an SDR, honestly, because it needs a touchscreen, and the most part and screens. Look at the SDRs that we buy. None of them are as cheap as all the good cheap portables. They're all more expensive. All of them. It is more expensive because the radio technology. Look at all the radios coming out. They're not reinventing the wheel. They're using the same technology. So it's cheap to produce. It's cheap to produce because they just do the same technology over and over with little variations here and there. And SDR is not the same. It's a computer. You need a computer. So you have to have the base cost of the computer plus the cost of the radio technology to have the computer getting the radio working. The cheapest SDR with a touch screen. So we're talking here with the touchscreen and all the technology that needs to be with it is 3 times, 4 times the price of a good, inexpensive portable shortwave. You're not going to get a lot of people in there. You're going to get people like us, once again, like I say. But it's much cheaper to produce a standard shortwave radio. Standard parts that are already available and technology that's already proven in the way that it's built. Remember, an SDR, you need a computer, and the computer's cost is in that radio. So even though the computers used are low powered and expensive, they're still rising the cost of the radio much more than a radio. What else do we have? But you know what, Jasmine? Ask everybody, because once again, you're in a technology world, and you're conditioned in that world. You're happy in it and the way it is. Ask everybody around you. They're going to tell you that touchscreen and all the stuff in their cars, they hate it. And they wish it would be back and simple with buttons like before. Once again, a car is the perfect example of I'm just shoving that in your face and you have no choice. Smartphones were like that also. I'm shoving you a touchscreen device in your face and you got no choice. Or that little cheap, crappy flip phone. Remember, we're not having a choice in a smartphone. You're not having a choice in a car. You're having choice on buying a shortwave radio, though. This is very different. You know, it's not one manufacturer. All the manufacturers coming together and saying, now from tomorrow morning, you're going to have a touchscreen device for your shortwave radio, and that's it. That's not working. It's a very different world. We're talking shortwave is a very unique niche market that does not comply and work like the real world other technologies we have everywhere. You got to make a line there. You got to make a difference. CC, nice to have you here from Dayton, Ohio. Always great content on the channel. Thanks for the quality. WO8 USA. Nice to have you here. Andy New. I must be an old guy at 69. I'm 7CUN. But you know what, Jasmine? You say, I feel there's so much potential for the use of radio technology paired with digital technology. We already have it. It's called a smartphone. It's called a smartphone. That's all. It's already done. Radio technology is there. It's Wi-Fi, it's wireless, or it's 5G, 4G, whatever. It's all wireless radio technology with digital. That's where we're going with that technology. You know. What else do we have? What else do we have? And an interesting conversation, anyways. We'll see. Will this show be here in 10 years? Let's do a little survey. Just say yes or no. When I get to it, I'll know it's the question I'm asking right now. Will I be doing this radio show in 2033? Supposing that everything's all right, I'm still alive. I'll be 63, 64. So now I'm going to be 54 next month. So if all goes and nothing changes on my side and stuff and I continue with radio, do you think a show like this will still be on? Maybe not on YouTube, maybe in 10 years and some other weird platform, I don't know. But will I be here talking about radio in 10 years? Yes or no? Just put a simple yes or no. What else do we have? If I missed out on anybody, please say hello. What else do we have? Paul, on 10-meter repeaters, do you need CTS CSS codes? I would guess probably on some, maybe not on all, because not every repeater requires codes. But I would guess maybe on some. The noise reduction on a Malahite works because it's a computer processing it, removing the noise around it. Remember one thing, it's not a breakthrough technology. If you don't hear a signal because there's too much noise, it's not taking it out of that noise. It's not going to make it better. The ratio of noise versus the signal needs to be at a certain level. It has to still be listenable. The reason why shortwave radios don't have that is because, one, it needs a computer, and that will raise the price to a radio where people won't buy it. Second of all, it's good. It's not that great. It sounds robotic. I don't use it that much. I find it interesting. And in some cases, it's like on the Yaesu. In some cases, it's nice to have. But I don't use it all the time because I'd say half of the time it sounds too weird to really be useful. But definitely it's a nice feature and it's surprising sometimes. But like I said, the price of a radio would go up. You need a computer suddenly. And you've tripled the price of a portable radio. Not going to go there. Remember the market we are in. We're in a shortwave radio market. We're not in selling TVs where everybody wants a TV. We're selling radios that just a part of the population wants one. Shortwave radios, particularly. So you don't want to send radios that are expensive. And the markets where the radios go today, you won't see look at the Deep SDR 101, like I just shown, or the Malahite clone that I have. Chinese people aren't buying that. They're buying Texan portables, standard Texan portables. And that's all, because they don't want to spend a lot of money, and they don't have a lot of money. We're also, we got to understand that we might have more money here to spend on that than a lot of people in Southeast Asia. These are the markets for stuff. I'll probably go on the Two Broke Tim trend here a little. If there is to be a radio with a touchscreen that we listen through there, then people are going to listen on their smartphone. That's where radio is going to be. You're going to listen to your smartphone to a stream, not an actual radio station. Once again, that's a very unique niche of us geeky, weird people. And I think that's what you need to see. You, like me, like all of us, are weird people that like that stuff. And I agree, in one thing, I agree with what you say, and it'd be fun if, and it'd be cool that. But my take on it is it's not going to happen. That's the thing. Petrian American also had good luck with my Sony ICF 7600G. Found that my old time wave DSP 9 Plus helps in some instances improve what I hear. Yep, during the Philips radio was advertised everywhere. Popular Communications. I saw it advertised in Monitoring Times, advertised in the Passport to World Band radio. I remember seeing it there. It was advertised in many, many places. KW1161 says, use my com radio CR1A in the truck without any other radio. Jacob Kissen Point Show, I'm watching you on my Google Pixel stills right now. They do a lot more. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. It's a computer. They include SSB on mainstream shortwave radios simply because SSB is a big. There's more signals in single sideband than there's signals in AM mode. Plus, there's the fact that, for a long time in the 80s, there was this take on international broadcasters might someday be in single sideband. But SSB on mainstream radios is not a mainstream radio. It's a radio for enthusiasts. People buy a radio, don't even know what SSB is, and they never tune it. We do, because we know that SSB brings utilities and ham radio stuff. But I'll add this, is that I can bet you that the majority of radios sold out there right now are chosen without SSB. People don't care about that. We choose it. Once again, I'm putting myself into where the radios are being sold now. Yeah, spacebar. The huge difference. Absolutely. Huge difference. We are, so the average consumer of a single sideband radio is not an average consumer. He's an enthusiast that wants to listen to ham radio stuff. It's not something that people will necessarily choose, but it was there on the radio. So when people purchase a shortwave radio, first of all, if it had it, it had it. But you know what? Nobody used it. Okay, I can tell you that. Most people that bought a shortwave radio with SSB never knew what it did, never used it. They used it for shortwave listening, and even better than that, Jasmine, the majority of people that bought a shortwave radio didn't even buy it for shortwave. They wanted a radio that had AM, FM on it, and that looked good, sounded good. That's the other thing also. So what happened there is, contrary to a car where you have to use the touchscreen, and a smartphones where you now have a computer, SSB didn't take on with the consumer at all. SSB is cool for the enthusiast. But SSB, the average consumer never used it. I can tell you that SSB button never was pressed. They never knew and never understood what it is and didn't really care. Once again, SSB appealed to us, and we're not an average consumer. We're a very different type of person when we buy radios, you know. But, a lot of people said, hey, I'm going to listen to ham radio stuff. Or ham radios will buy a shortwave radio because it's like, oh, with SSB, because I want to be able to hear the hams or stuff like that. But once again, it's not a standard consumer thing. No, because SSB was not shoved in your face. It's like I was saying, Jasmine. SSB is not shoved in your face. If you buy a radio that has SSB as a consumer, you don't know what it is, what it does, and you probably will never do anything with it. You don't have to deal with and mess with SSB. But if you get a radio with a touchscreen that gets all complicated with tons of things in the screen, you'll have to deal with understanding that, because now the radio is only working with that. It doesn't have 6 buttons where I press AM or FM and I just tune. And people want to press AM and FM and just tune. Once again, you're talking about a device that appeals to enthusiasts and nothing more than that, and not consumers, the regular standard consumers. It's as simple as that. This is where we are at in the radio. Okay. Let's go see here. Let's go down. I'm just going to try to catch up a little more here, because I'm the conversation here with Jasmine is making me stay back a little. We're going to actually go here. Okay, let's try to catch up a little more. The Win 1960, nice to have you here. What else do we have? KB7RQQ. Singh mentioned that the Kenwood KDC 130U still has shortwave capability. What else do we have? Christian Marcoux. Salut, j'espère que ça va bien. Nice to have you here from North Bay, Ontario. Petron American is KM5JH. Tim Smith, been watching the experimental 8-meter band FT8 40680. David at Barcelona, nice to have you on board. EA3IEK. Tim Smith has the IC7300. Loves the waterfall. Mickey Delmage, IC7300. Great transceiver as well as general coverage. RJ Dakota don't even have a large or even a small computer. Carl, does anyone know any model of network over electrical mains adapter that does not splatter interference over HF? Yeah, that's the big problem with those. This was a known scary thing when they started talking about that type of technology back. Pirate on 6930 kilohertz upper sideband. Matt says that said, the $20 SDRs aren't very good. The ones that are still north of 100. And once again, if we want to talk about a SDR that is a portable device that's on its own, okay, and that is 200 to 300. Yeah, but you don't want that, Jasmine. $60 on Alibaba, that thing probably is crappy. Look at the Deep SDR 101, costs more than that, and it's not fantastic. And you cannot get something that it's like, A good shortwave portable, non SDR, starts at least at 50, 60, or 70. You have to add the SDR components with it and have no noise or minimum amount of noise coming out of it. That's the other thing also. You want an SDR that you put a telescopic and doesn't get crap noise from the SDR and the computer that's in it. All of them get tons of noise. We're all using external antennas to have it working better. There's all sorts of things like that that you've got. And that means that an SDR for a portable device with a touchscreen, nothing will come below at least 200 to be good. Okay. And we're not even talking about great. And that's the thing. Yes, mass production lowers price over time, but people are not going to buy that. You will, I will, a lot of guys in the chat room will. Standard people, they're going to see a Texan with just a few buttons that works. They're going to see that thing. They're going to take the Texan. The majority of consumers are going to get the standard little radio with buttons. That's the other thing. Power consumption could be a big problem. Like Ricky says, a portable radio works ages on batteries. An SDR is a hunger in consumption of battery. It takes a lot of power to run. Well, Jasmine, that's the case in some markets. Okay, just to give you an idea, the reason why it's not niche necessarily everywhere. In Southeast Asia, for example, there are countries where radios are purchased intentionally with shortwave because they hear the stations they want to hear on shortwave with it. So it could be, BBC or Voice of America and things like that. That in that area, in those area where information is important, buying a shortwave radio is not niche. It's a consumer product, and they just want a consumer product that works well but isn't very expensive. I can bet you that there's not much things sold in Southeast Asia that cost more than $50. Most of them buy the basic models. Why is Texan? Why is XH Data? Like, why is XH Data releasing a D109? Very inexpensive. Because that's selling. That's what they're going to sell. That's going to be, if it's good, it's going to be a radio that people want. And that's going to be the big selling point because that's where they're sold. The majority of radios are sold in those areas. Here, it's niche. Why? Because I can't see, look at what's on shortwave. It was already in North America, pretty much niche market, and we had tons of broadcasts in the 70s or 80s. Okay? If you would have seen what I seen on shortwave in 1982, 83, you would go crazy. To see the amount of stations easily easily listenable with good quality. We didn't even need to have noise reduction. It was just listenable with good quality and a lot of stuff to listen to. And even then, in North America, shortwave radio was a hobbyist, enthusiast, and for 90% of the people, simply something that is cool. There is a handful of people that had it for other purpose, real listening of news from somewhere else around the world. It was already pretty much niche back then. It's worse today, and it ain't gonna get better. The listening market isn't that big. If it was, you'd still have Sony and you'd still have Panasonic making tons of shortwave radios. John H., nice to have you on board. What else? So yes, 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 God willing. Jasmine, smartphones are great. What I was thinking of was something which uses the ionosphere to receive digital signal data. You know why it's not going to happen also? Because it's just not reliable enough for that purpose. It works, but it doesn't work all the time. You don't want that. You want something that works all the time. Yes, yes. Rob, in Costa Rica, have a PL660 and does the job. Do you think a radio like that will be discontinued or so distant future? There's no indication for now that a radio like that will be discontinued. If it is, it'll be replaced or it'll have simply other models that will, replace it well if you want. I know the 600 seems to be almost impossible now to find. I would think the 600 might be, but I think it's mostly there'll be some models that will replace it well, even if it's not available at some point. Rusty B says yes. Keegan loves a radio with buttons. Petron American wish you good health too. Thank you very much. VT Radio says no. Jasmine says yes, I will be. John says yes, and I'll be president of Canada, so prime minister of Canada. My first order of news is everybody will have a shortwave radio. Matt says, who will need you and feed you when you're 64? Oh man. Um, yes, Mark Ricardo, hell yeah. Michelle Colette, yes. Matt says yes. Mike says yes. Tubrook Tim says yes. Jet Crafter says yes. Keegan DXer says yes. We'll see if that holds true. When I started back in 2012, I really wasn't thinking that in 2023, 11 years later, I'd still be doing YouTube stuff and videos, especially in a world where, there's changing technology all the time. Platforms tend to shift, you know? Terry Stafford just got my 501X yesterday. Now I need to build my MLE 30. Cool. You're going to have fun. Jem F. Yes. Carol, I hope you're here in 10 years. Spacebar, you'll be living in a castle by then. And low noise environment. No neighbors around for 100 kilometers. RJ Dakota, I hope I'm here, God willing, listening to you talk about radio. The S, yes, sure. Jerry Schetzer, yes. Tristan, yes. Jasmine, you'll be here in 4K 3D. I'll have an avatar in your room with the radios. That's going to be the 10 years from now. Chuck Davis, yes. What's old will be new again. Arthur's Autocratter's Kitchen, yes. Danny Shortwave with 1 million subs, too. Crazy House 888, yes. K6 SUD, nice to have you on board. Glenn Zeckman, we'll be here in 10 years. Jasmine, will be in the room with you virtually. Yep, that's the new technology. Our dad, yes. I hope I'm still around. Robert Osborne, BBC 7520. Good signal in Niagara Falls right now. Let's check that out. 7520. Good signal here. 7.520. Got a very weak signal here. It's rather weak here. AM mode. It's there, but it's not super strong. KW1161 says, yes, how to DX the lunar colonies. King and the Xer can call the show Jill and Friends. Yep, yep. David, yes, maybe a virtual reality. Greg, yes. TV Ostrowski, yes. Tim Smith, my beacon is still being heard in Canary Islands well after 10 p.m. local time. Oh, yeah, the 10-meter band has been open and very late now here. King and the Xer, Jill and Company. Arthur's Autocrafters Kitchen got a fresh set of D cells into the ICF 6700 tonight. Cool. Glenn Zeckman, ham radio needs something like QO100 for this part of the world. Take care, Bobby. Have fun with the wrestling show. As long as you're not the one wrestled or wrestling. King in the Xer, I use an iPhone to record FM, shortwave, and medium wave catches on my Ethon Gredig satellite, current edition Field BT and edition satellite. I later upload the videos, recordings on YouTube's. Chuck Davis, we're normal. It's the rest of the world that's weird. You're right. Definitely. Definitely. King in the Xer prefers his laptop PC for typing easier. K6SUD, glad to see the fire going. It's cold here today. Radio waves, weird people. Oh, there's another station calling on 29600. I hear him. Barely any noise. Somebody just called on 29600. What else do we have? Simon Templar, Mrs. Monitoring Times. Yeah. Spectrum Monitor is very close, honestly. It has the feel of Monitoring Times. But I still remember going to the newspaper stands here in downtown Montreal to get my copy of Popular Communications. I remember even in the late 80s, Popular Communications, Monitoring Times, the Compute Gazette for Commodore 64, things like that. What else do we have? Jasmine, I thought the plus of shortwave was that it was somewhat censor resistant. Wouldn't that open up a channel for censorship proof direct to person digital information streaming using HF? Yeah, I get what you're saying here. And I think we had that capability happen in DRM. The problem is I think shortwave, unless we get a really, really good, decoding mode, the thing with the any digital mode on HF is the fact that, and especially if you want to have information with voice in it, is the fact that the shifting propagation messes up the bits of the digital stream all the time. So we could see it with DRM. You got a clear, strong signal, it works, but fade outs, audio cuts, stuff like that. And remember that who needs the censorship-proof technology for the most part? There are a lot of countries where you don't want to spend or don't have the money to spend a lot on technology. So you'll have, once again, a good old analog radio. Simon Templar have been listening to the HF Global Command on 11175. They have been busy today. Aerial Imaging, thank you for the tip, and consider reviewing the Belka. It's in there. I'm going to check it out definitely. Metal, Magic, and Mayhem. Nice to have you here. Patriot American, I miss Monitoring Times as well, but just subscribe to the Spectrum Monitor. Really like it. PDF monthly, very good. And well, a lot of the people that were in Monitoring Times actually moved to the Spectrum Monitor, and it's definitely pretty much the feel of the Monitoring Times. I subscribed also, and I jumped a year. I had not subscribed last year, but I resubscribed in January of this year. So it's a good little publication, definitely. TB Ostrowski, he misses the days of international shortwave. So I kid myself by using my iPhone and PL 88990X Bluetooth and play the Shortwave Radio Archive podcast through the Texan. Modern nostalgia. Yeah, yeah. So Jasmine. So in that, but you know what, Jasmine, when you talk about censorship and all of that, this is why shortwaves will be there and there will be shortwave radios in 10 years and 20 years and 30 years from now. There's always going to be a need. And to give you an idea of, how important shortwave is for some countries and why shortwave is more important than people think. How many clandestine stations have popped up recently using the relays like the Issoudun France relay and many other relays around the world to broadcast to their home country? Look at Sudan, look at Nigeria, even look at the radio, the station Radio Progresso. What is it? What's is it Progresso? That's using France as a relay to broadcast to Cuba. And there's a lot of those. There's a lot of them in Asia going on also. If shortwave was not important, they wouldn't spend the money in purchasing and transmitting with 250 kilowatts towards a country. Tells you that these countries use radio, listen to the radio, and that's where shortwave is important. Yeah, absolutely, Jasmine, for the censorship. But the future is, and it will stay into standard analog portables, simply for the fact that where shortwave is needed in the future, it'll always be for a purpose of trying to give news to an area where a lot of people don't have a lot of money. They'll have the inexpensive radios. Look at Ukraine. Many broadcast transmissions started when Ukraine got invaded a year ago. It's incredible to think that yesterday has been a year since the invasion of Ukraine by Russia. And, even Russia blocking a lot of stuff, but it's still going to be old analog style. And what you're thinking of is nice and everything because that's what you like and you would like to see that happen. But it's always going to be kind of a niche. It's going to be a niche in the niche market of shortwave radio already, where there's going to be stuff like that happening here and there. But no big mainstream company is going to do, a radio with a touchscreen with a SDR waterfall and all of that for the mainstream market. Those are much more for the enthusiasts out there. Robert Cross, thank you for the tip. RJ Dakota, like the SSB future because of a lot of pirates on shortwave and things like that. Yeah. But you know what? That's because we're in that hobby and we like that. We know that. That's for sure. Yeah, and many radios they would call BFO sometimes. Yeah. Aerial imaging. I keep a 2010. I paid to have 1 cent off a tech completely redone. Let me just go back up here again. Try to I don't know where I was. Okay, so so what else do we have? RJ Dakota might be cool for FM only or a DAB type system, but not shortwave. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Exactly, spacebar. That's what the consumer wants. Metal Magic and Mayhem. I was lucky to have a mentor that introduced me to shortwave listening back in elementary school. Taught me a lot of things about the hobby, including single sideband. Paul, anyone getting LR836? Let's check it out now. I'm going to try it. We're pretty much in the gray line now. So if there would be a chance, would be now. 15476. I'm hearing it. I'm hearing it. It's in the noise, but I'm definitely hearing it right now. Exactly like last week, as the grain line is moving towards me and the East Coast here, and in Antarctica, where the station is. It's getting there, so I'm hearing it now. So you guys try it. I'm actually getting it now. It's in the noise, but it's there. Um. Well, a lot of the Jacob, a lot of the portable SDRs that we see right now work on similar devices. A lot of them are done on Arduino and low power devices. An SDR would work with a Raspberry Pi, definitely. VT Radio. I just made my first ever 10-meter FM contact. I got inspired by you monitoring 29600. Cool. Congratulations. I made my two first contacts in FM this week with Belgium and in Italy. So this is cool. And this is cool because it brings you to the hobby. And now you're going to think of FM and you're going to think of, you know what? This is kind of cool. It's something new for me. This is also why all of this exists, why I'm here. Trying to push people into trying something new, listening to something they've never done before, you know? What else do we have? RGA Dakota, I don't think a small Texan would ever have an SDR, and a demand in the street would not care about that. No, definitely. That's not the audience where that's not the people that Texan is targeting. Uh, that's as simple as that. Forget your life. Besides convenience, do you think swapping out the SMA and RJ's 174 for BNC and RJ8X on the MLA30 would improve signal to noise? I don't think so because it's an amplified signal. It's not a signal. It's not a standard, weak signal coming a from the antenna, a passive antenna. It's an amplified signal. So in terms of signal to noise, I don't think you'll see a difference. It would be much more convenience because you'd have a BNC connection that's easier to play with and probably more sturdy than an SMA. But I don't think it would see any difference personally. It is an amplified signal. It works. It works if it was a passive antenna. Definitely having a good coax to reduce the noise, that would work, but not with an amplified signal. Um, Glenn Segment, how about shortwave radios in the 1960s? Yep, definitely. Lots of stuff changed. RJ Dakota, back in the 80s when I was much younger, I lived not far from medium tension power lines. So, yes, even back then I had a lot of noise. Yeah, in your case, if you did live next to a power station or power lines, that could be a problem. But for a lot of us, it was pretty quiet compared to today. Mike WX50, out in the country, high elevation in late 70s or early 80s. Not much noise. King and the Exeter, you get a shortwave radio. You get a shortwave radio. Everybody gets a shortwave radio. Patriot American won't tell how old he's going to be in 10 years. That's fine. E3IEK, I personally, although I don't dislike SDRs and they're much better signal filtering, dynamic range, noise floor, I still prefer hardware based rigs because I like to be able not always depend on modern devices for everything. Um, yeah, definitely. Kevin, wouldn't it be great if ham radio or shortwave or CB was used by John Wick in Hollywood blockbuster? Oh, the radios they would sell. Yeah, I could see, like some fancy movie, and you have Texan receivers everywhere. I bet you'd see them show up at local electronics stores suddenly. Oh man. Yeah, maybe, Jasmine. We'll see that, I don't 10 years, 7 years from now. It's not 7 years, 10 years from now. It's going to be, we're going to have some new technologies for sure. It's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen in the future. RJ Dakota, WRMI Legends on 93.95 right now. Simon Templar, I agree. Spectrum monitor is good. I have bought a few issues. K6 SUD nuts and volts. Yeah, that's I haven't checked much of those. I need to check more. So it looks interesting. Mike WX50 Popular Communications was a magazine that I picked up at the bookstore quite often. Yep. Matt just got buzzed that Radio Free whatever is starting up. Time to hunt for the signal. Richard Califano says it's still a good feeling to have a book or magazine in your hands. Remember going to buying Popular Electronics Shortwave magazine. It was fun getting the latest copy. I was the annoying guy. I was such an annoying guy that the I would go to the same store all the time and annoy the guy. Why is the Compute Gazette not in yet? Is it going to be here soon? Of course, they didn't know. Like probably next week. Yeah, okay. But I would, I'd love. I would. It was fun. I would go. My fun evening back in the day, like when I, like early '90s, was to late '80s, early '90s was to Fridays. I would end my day of work would end at 3 p.m. And what I'd do is instead of going home, I'd take the bus, go downtown, and then I'd go downtown, eat something at a restaurant, and then I'd go to the record store, get a few vinyl records. Later was CDs, and then I'd go to the bookstore, and I'd look at all the magazines. I'd pick up my Compute Gazettes, my Compute, Ahoy. I would get Monitoring Times, Popular Communications. Sometimes I'd look at some of the electronic stuff they had. I'd also pick up some of the guitar magazines because I was playing guitar back then. So, I'd end up coming home with like 10 magazines or something. I wouldn't actually even think about it today because back in the day, it's like, $2.50, $3 a magazine. It's like, yeah, okay, it's $20 from, 20, $25 of magazines. Today, the same thing would be like $100 of magazines. So, um, what else do we have? Jasmine, you missed a series of utility articles on monitoring Ukraine, Russia last year. Spacebar, who knows, Joel, in 10 years it might be outposted on the moon to solve an issue on the repeater. Something on 6930 kilohertz. Let me check it out here. Anything on 6930? 30. I've got something actually on 6955. That's pretty strong. 6955 upper sideband is pretty good. And I got an AM signal on 6935. So there's some music on 6955 upper sideband. And there's an AM signal on 6935. Actually, not even 6935. It's 6937. There's an AM signal on 6937. And another one at 6955 upper sideband right now, which are not bad at all in strength. What else do we have? Let's get down. What else? So let me just go here. Music on 6930, upper sideband. Richard Califano, crazy, but remember the smell of all the books and papers at the newsstand. Yeah. There are things like that that just pop up in your mind. It's like, wow. It's upper sideband VT radio, 15476 upper sideband for LRA 36. Yeah, it's there. I definitely hear it. It's in the noise, but it's definitely there on 15476 upper sideband. S1 SI1 NYC, nice to have you here. Says maybe maybe one day soon we will need shortwave to receive uncensored news in North America. Who knows? Who knows? Mike WX50, listening on a QESDR in Rockport, Maine, S9. KW1161, 15476 upper sideband. Yep. Thank you, Michael. RJ Dakota, we use shortwave as almost mandatory mainstream news and entertainment. Our local news outlets almost non-existent. Jasmine, if Joe was Prime Minister of Canada, the first order of business would be to reactivate Radio Canada. Yeah. Radio Canada International. Relay. VT Radio. I'll have to try 10-meter repeaters next. Yep. I'll have to try that too. Maybe through a 10-meter repeater, you can make a contact, you and me. That would be kind of cool. Because there's a chance that if you hear that 10-meter repeater, I'll hear it too, because we're not that far off. So if you can make a contact through a 10-meter repeater, maybe we'll be able to make a contact through there. That'd be kind of cool, though. VT Radio. Artists Alley Crafters. My family used to shop off at the local drugstore Saturday night after church. My dad would get his ham radio magazines. I'd pick up popular communications and monitoring times. Francis Moore, another informative masterclass in a very interesting and sometimes confusing shortwave hobby. Mad Radio DX are the good old days when gaming magazines came with floppy disks later, rather than and then later CDs. Yep, definitely. Patriot American always get trouble in the bookstore in the 70s. I'd pick up Radio Magazine and read most of the article, and manager would come over and complain that I never bought it. Sheldon Harvey saying that 3 pirates on right now, 6930 Thunder Chicken Radio, 6937, which I'm hearing WRKO, and 6955 Radio Free whatever. So I see a very weak 6930, but definitely good 69:37 and 69:55 here in Montreal. Hey, Robbie, nice to have you here. The new hit song FT8. A date with FT8. Ricky, take care. Toujours un plaisir. See you next time. Always nice to have you here, my friend. Spacebar, Russian date with FT8. Sheila, nice to have you here from Belleville, Ontario. Beam C Bike, great show tonight. Thank you so much. Paul, got to break to dinner. Take care. Well, we're soon to end the show, so let's say goodbye. And Paul says, okay, on the 10-meter repeater QSL. Yeah, I think that would be a good one because, with both of us probably hearing the same repeater, if we can key in, that'd be kind of nice. So, hey guys, we're past 3 hours, and I'm starting to get hungry. I'm going to eat some pizza tonight. So I wanted to say, take care, everybody. Stay safe, and always fun to have all of you here as usual. Thanks for the great show and the discussion. It's always cool to be here. And so remember that next week the show is on Sunday. Don't forget, guys. Shortwave Fest is coming Saturday. Register. It's $5. All the fun you're gonna have there, you have no idea. You'll be amongst friends. There's the presentations where they're always cool to see, always cool to look at. You can come in and out. If you go and you don't have all day, you look at what you can look at, and once it's done, you can get out, do something else, come back later. There's the hospitality suite that's going to be open on Friday night. I'm going to be there, Sheldon Harvey, Mickey Delmage, and hopefully a lot of guys. And Saturday, we're going to have the Winter Fest is going to be with tons of cool things. There's going to be the hospitality suite open all day on Saturday. And I'll be operating, and Miki Dalmage will be operating special event stations. I'll be VE2AQP doing some SSB voice, some FT8. Miki Dalmage, VE6SWL with voice, SSB voice only. And so we'll be operating some special event stations. The information will be posted and given as the day goes on with the event. $5 SWLFEST.com. You're going to have a great time. It's going over Zoom. And like I said, because of the Shortwave Festival, I'll be doing the live show Sunday, March 5th instead. So it's going to be Sunday next week at 20 hours Universal Time, same time. It's just that it's going to be a Sunday instead of Saturday. Take care, everybody. Love you all. Stay safe, and hope that everybody is going to be all right. So take care, all, and hope to see you at the fest on Saturday, in the hospitality suite, Friday night and Saturday, and hope to see you again on Sunday, 20 hours Universal Time. Take care, guys. Stay safe.